Hello and welcome to Freedom with Marketing. Today we're going to talk about 20 common mistakes people make when it comes to email marketing and sending emails, a few tips on why they are mistakes and how to avoid them. So before diving into these 20 common mistakes, a few quick pointers. These are mistakes that I have made over and over again, either with my own email list in the past or when working with clients, and I've seen them happen with other people as well. There is a exhausted list. I came up with these 20 just off the top of my head. I could probably come up with about 50, but I don't want to sit here and bore you too much about the details on them. So let's dive in. Email mistake number one, not being consistent. This is something that people do with their email list over and over again. You send out a few emails this week, life gets in the way, you miss a day or two, you forget, a few days turn into a few weeks into a few months. Next thing you know, you haven't emailed your list in 6 months, a year, and all of that hard work that you put in to start off with has now gone to waste. That's a common problem. Another common reason behind this is you start to send emails. You send emails for a few weeks, maybe even a month, maybe 2 months. You're not seeing the results that you want or expect, so you decide it's time to stop and move on to something else. You haven't waited enough for the compounding to kick in. You lose all the progress that you've made. The solution to this is commit to email marketing, and you commit to doing it over a long enough period of time, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, in order to see the results. Email mistake number two, the booty call. This is something that I have done myself too many times in the past, but I don't do so much now. It's also something that is a little bit of a trap that you can fall into as a business owner or as a contractor, like I was and like I am working with clients. And that is that you only send emails when you want to sell something. Kind of like when you call one up because you want something with the booty call. I don't have any experience with that myself because I've been married for over 7 years, but you understand the concept of what that is. This is the reality of what happens, and I'm guilty of that at all levels of from being paid a tiny amount to write individual emails for clients several years back to having a high retainer with a client for 12 months, and things get in the way. You have a plan on what you need to do, but something else comes up and you only send emails when you want to sell things. The solution is to follow a ratio, which I heard from Rob Moore at Disruptive Entrepreneur, and that is the 80-10-5-5 rule. 80% of the emails and content you create is sort of teaching, helping people, giving value. 10% is being more, 10% is selling. 5% is being more personal and sharing things about your personal life to show that you're a real human, a real person. And 5% is for engagement, encouraging people to hit reply and doing all of these different things. Too many people focus on the selling over than teaching and value. What I would suggest to do, the solution to this, is to create a daily email plan where you're sending between 5 to 7 emails a week. This is pretty easy to do. You just need to be organized. You just need to be prepared to write the emails and get the emails ready and to test and optimize and basically throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and do more of that. And then you can have pre-planned promotions throughout the year, and you can sell in every email that you send. Email mistake number 3, worrying about open rates. This has become more of a problem or less of a problem depending on which way you look at it in recent times. It's become more of a problem because open rates are notoriously unreliable with various software updates on phones and different things which skewer the open rates. I personally don't care so much about open rates. What is more, click-through rates. Your open rate traditionally was to show you how effective your subject line was at getting attention and to stand out in all the noise of your inbox. But again, I don't personally think this is a I didn't think this was a metric to focus on too much before all the software updates, which has made them so unreliable you shouldn't even look at them. But a lot of people, unfortunately, look at open rates as a metric because it artificially inflates how effective you are, and it basically, if you've got 50% open rates, it gives you a tap on the back, and it kind of makes you feel like, oh, I'm doing a good job, look at me. When in actual fact, that's not necessarily true. Focus on click-through rate instead. A click-through rate is what percentage of people click the link. This shows how effective your email was at getting someone to take action. Look at the metrics where you can decide or calculate how much money each email makes and how much you're making per email per subscriber. They are much more important metrics to follow because it shows how much money you're making. Email mistake number 4, not having a systematic plan in place. This is something which this is a mistake I've made more times than I can count. And that is, you jump into things fast and you have a rough idea of what you want to do. You start doing it. It's not systematic. You then find that you're all over the place. It becomes a mess. You don't get the results you want. I've had this with clients, especially trying to get them to implement a systematic plan where you align things like your emails with your social media, with your YouTube, with your podcast, and integrate all of this system into one, since they basically serve the same function as marketing your business and promoting your brand and building trust, likability, and building authority and all of these things. But sometimes it's hard to do. What I would strongly suggest anyone to do, if you have an email list and you have social media and you have other platforms as well, you need to integrate them. You need to have a plan. I think it was Brian Tracy that said for every 1 minute of planning, you save 10 minutes of doing, or something along those lines. If you can sit down and plan your email and plan what you want to do with your emails over a quarter, over 12 months, and integrate this in a way that aligns with what you want to do with your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, podcasts, and different things, it's going to be much, much easier and much, much smoother down the line. And it'll also allow you to systematically analyze which emails perform better and which emails do not perform better. If you have a longer plan for 12 months, you don't have to come up with the emails that you're planning to send in 12 months from today. That's just not what you do. But you can schedule 2 weeks of emails in advance and then analyze the data and then schedule another 2 weeks, or you could do it on a weekly basis. The purpose of a plan is to have something there. So when life gets in the way, so when other more urgent things pop up in your business and so things show up that grab your attention from one way to the next, all you've got to do is look at your plan. Something is set there. Oh, we're doing a promotion this week. Let's do it. That's why you need to have a plan. Email mistake number 5, not segmenting your list correctly. I've recorded a separate video about list segmentation and 5 different ways that you can segment your list. I'm sure my assistant will put the link in the video. If not, the link should be below in the description or somewhere, or you can just search on the channel. Segmenting your list is basically allows you to send a different message to different people based on who they are, their past behavior. You can send a more nuanced message. The best way to describe this was with a client that I work with. They had a certification to help people become a teacher, and they had an additional program for people who are already teachers looking to expand and improve their skills. It does not make sense to send messages about why you should become a teacher to people who are already teachers. Likewise, you wouldn't want to send ways to improve your teaching skills to someone who is thinking about becoming a teacher, because the messages just won't work. It won't connect with people. You have to split the list and send the messages about why you should become a teacher to the people who want to become a teacher, and then you sell their certification. You then send messages about how to improve your skills and why investing in the client's premium coaching service will help you become a better teacher and earn more money to people that are already teachers. Why you should segment. Another really important way to segment is based on whether someone is a buyer, or a non-buyer. Let me give you some definitions to these. A non-buyer is someone who has never bought from you in the past. A buyer is someone that has bought from you in the past. A repeat buyer is someone that has bought from you multiple times in the past. This is important. It's generally considered that someone that has bought from you is between 10 to 16 times more likely to buy from you again compared to someone that has not bought from you. A repeat buyer, someone that has bought all of your stuff, is more likely to buy your next product than someone that has just bought from you once. Therefore, if you want to sell your products or services, a list where people have bought multiple products from you is more valuable and more likely to generate sales compared to the list of people that have not bought from you in the past. So it makes far more sense to allocate your time, energy, effort, and resources on the people who are more likely to buy than those who aren't. That is the importance of segmenting your list. I've encountered crazy problems with list segmentation when working with clients because they have their own way of segmenting things. They overcomplicate the segmentation and tagging people based on certain behaviors, and it just turns into a mess. And it ends up with some people receiving emails that are supposed to go out to 4 different groups of people because they're all tagged and getting 4 emails a day, and it's just hard to manage. The solution is identify how you want to segment your list and keep it simple, and then you can send more specific, nuanced messages to individuals based on where they're at. Email marketing mistake number 6. You treat people on your email list, well, you just treat them like a commodity. Each person that signs up to your email list is a real human. They have a real life. They have the same problems that you and I have on a day-to-day basis. They have the same worries. They have the same concerns. They have the same frustrations. Every number on your list is a real human. Well, most of them probably are. Some bots are on there, some fake emails, but as a concept, this is easy to understand when you have a small email list. But when you grow your list to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, a million, like some businesses do, it's hard to view 1 million subscribers as individual humans. But they are, and you need to do this. The more you can tap into a human connection and treat people like a real person, this is what builds trust. This is what builds likability. This is how you build the relationships. Email marketing mistake number 7 is directly related to the one before. Don't focus on building a relationship. The best way to explain this is with an analogy in a different context. Maybe you go to business conferences in your industry. You show up. There are a lot of people around. What do? How do you network? How do you introduce yourself and your business to other people that are at this event or conference? Do you walk up to them and have a bit of small talk, get to know them, exchange business cards, try to find out about them? Or do you go up and start and get your phone out and show them a YouTube channel or something? Probably not. Because if you do, people are just going to think you're weird. But yet the same thing happens all the time when it comes to emails. Nobody really focuses on building the relationship in the early stages of someone becoming a subscriber onto your list. And I think that's a mistake. Not everyone will agree, but I personally do. I think that if you invest time, energy, and attention into starting a relationship with a new subscriber by treating them like a human and replicating a similar process that you would in a different scenario, this is going to pay off big time in the future because you're more likely to turn them into a fan of your brand and they will buy your stuff. How do you do this? Difficult to say. It all depends on how much resources you have available and how much time you want to allocate. But when someone joins your email list, you can get an assistant to send a email to them, personally thanking them, using the name, asking them about them, asking how you can help them, collating the replies and just giving a response back. And the more you can do this, the in the future. Ultimately, email marketing is sending the same email to a large number of people at the same time. Compare this to when people book a sales call and it's just a one-on-one call with someone. If you can apply the concepts that happen inside a one-on-one call with your email marketing and treat your subscribers like real humans and try to interact with them one-on-one, you're going to develop and build a stronger relationship with them in the future. Email mistake number 8. Every email needs a call to action. Not everyone does this. Every time you write an email is an asset. The purpose of the email is to get someone to take action. That action can be to click a link. This link could be to a sales page to buy a product. This link could be to book a call. This link could be to your latest podcast. This link could be to your YouTube. This link could be to a piece of content. This link could be to sign up to your latest workshop, webinar, masterclass, whatever you want to call it. The options are endless. Every email takes time to craft. Every email takes time to schedule. Every email is an asset. It needs to have a call to action. Without a call to action, you cannot determine the effectiveness of your email. With a call to action, you can actually measure how effective the content of your email is at getting people to take the action that you want. There is one exception to this, and if you remember back to email mistake number 2 about how most people use email as a booty call and they only send emails when they want something, which is they want you to buy because they're having cash flow issues in the business. I mentioned the 80-10-5-5 rule, where 80% of the content is teaching, giving value, 10% is selling, 5% is for engagement, to hit reply and just to just to boost your deliverability in the way that emails, all of the technical stuff on the emails which affect how your email gets delivered. And 5 is to share personal information, don't share personal information, share things about your personal life so people can see you're a real human. If you want to share about something that you've done in your personal life to build these relationships and to have these personal connections, you don't necessarily need to have a call to action there. If you're training to run a marathon and you want to share this with your audience, as a personal connection, you don't need to necessarily have a link or call to action. But if you understand the purpose of each email, this becomes obvious, and you just need to follow your own intuition. Email mistake number 9: putting too much time and energy and effort into a subject line. Years and years ago, a subject line was probably a really thing. It's sort of a subject line would get people to open the email, then they'd read the email, and then a certain percentage would buy your product or service. I don't think subject lines matter too much anymore. If subject lines don't matter because of the unreliability of open rates, you can't really determine how effective a subject line was if the data on open rates are not accurate because of various software updates on phone which skew the data. What I think will make subject lines irrelevant is having a strong relationship with your subscribers. And if you have that strong relationship with your subscribers and you build the relationship so they actually want to receive your content, I don't think the subject line matters so much, because they're going to see your name and your brand show up and they're going to open it. So, solution: focus on developing a strong relationship and giving people content that they want, and showing up consistently and frequently in their inbox to build long-term relationships. So people open your emails because they want to read it, not because you have some kind of a catchy subject line. Email mistake number 10. This is a common problem. You view email as one thing and you don't view it as part of the whole marketing picture, and you don't put email in the context of your business. I can a personal experience with this in my while working with clients. And the way that this happened is I tried my best to integrate their email with social media because they're both serving the same purpose. People on your email list might not be on your social media. People who follow you on social media might not be on your email list. So you have to have some kind of an integrated system so you can become omnipresent and show up where your followers and people are. And the more platforms and channels that you have subscribers and followers, the more they're going to see your messages and the more opportunity they have to become fans of your brand. Most people don't do this. What you would suggest you do is use your email to promote your social media channels. Use your social media channels to promote your email. When you do this, you'll become omnipresent. You'll show up more often. You'll get more attention rather than relying on one individual post or one individual subject line, and you will get bigger results in the future. Email mistake number 11, not knowing what to write in your emails. This is a common objection I get when I suggest people to have daily emails. When you have daily emails, you show up frequently and consistently and you get attention, but people don't know what to write. They worry about becoming spammy. They worry about sending content their subscribers don't like, and this puts them off. It leads to procrastination, it leads to nothing happening, and it leads to not tapping into the full potential of your email list. The solution, what I like to do is every quarter, send an email out asking people, what do you want? How do you want it? And how can I help you achieve that? You want to find out what problems and challenges people are currently having, what type of content and topics they want you to produce, and how they want you to help them solve a problem. Get your assistant to put this into a spreadsheet for you, analyze the data, use this to plan what you want in the next 3 months. This makes sure that you always know what to write, always know what to include in your emails, and also for your other content on social media and your YouTube and your podcasts and anything else that you do. You can also look at your email metrics. You can identify which type of emails, which topic in emails generated the highest click-through rate. Click-through rate, if you recall, measures basically how effective your emails are at getting someone to take action, and do more of that. And when you have this in place and you do it systematically, you'll never run out of ideas on what to do. Email mistake number 12. You have unrealistic expectations. I remember working with a client and we introduced daily emails. And I remember being on a marketing call with the client, and they pulled up the data and I could see everyone's face on the call drop. They weren't happy with the data. They saw the emails were underperforming. Incidentally, a week or two later, I had an email saying I'm being made redundant from this client, which was quite given how much money I'd generated for the company. Anyway, they forgot all of the promotions that generated all the money, and they just look at the daily emails, and they expected the daily emails to have a similar kind of result as the promotions. When in actual fact, this is the case. You have to have realistic expectations. You have to be aware that depending on your email list, depending on how people got onto your email list, depending on the relationships you have with existing subscribers, depending on a whole host of other different things, you're not going to get the results that you expect immediately. So with this particular client, the issue was the difference between buyers and non-buyers. If you recall, a buyer is between 10 and 16 times more likely to become a repeat buyer than someone that has not. The way that this client got people onto their email list is mostly they run Google ads to get people to book a call. People who don't book a call go onto their email list. These are cold prospects that haven't had much introduction to the brand, compared to people that might buy one of their products, consume the product, already buy into the brand and what they do, and then are more likely to consume and want the results afterwards. So it was quite difficult to try to get them to understand this, that because you have an email list with 30,000 people on, only 2,000 of these people are buyers, 28,000 are non-buyers. What do you really realistically expect? The purpose of these daily emails is to just show up consistently to tap into compounding that's going to happen in 3 to 6 months or beyond. And you use all of this sort of stuff that you're teaching today, this week, next week, the week after, basically to build up towards a promotion where you make most sales. The client realized this, and that was the beginning of the end of the contract. As I said, 2 weeks later, they made me redundant in their words. Again, the lesson is that you need to be about what you can expect. Email marketing and sales is a mathematics problem. You have to identify your own benchmarks. Don't look at what other people say or other people tell you, because every business, every list is different. Find your own benchmarks. Try to improve them by analyzing the data. Analyze the data to find which emails work best by your own metrics, which generated the most clicks, which generated the most book calls, which generated the most sales, which generated the most earnings per subscriber, earnings per email, whatever you want to look at. Identify these, do more of these next week and see what happens. And then keep testing on a weekly basis, trying to improve until you reach a point where your metrics don't really improve so much. That's when you've reached your ceiling. And then the focus is to continue growing your list, where you now have a somewhat predictable metrics. You then increase the list size, and you can continue to get them. You have to test. You have to be patient. You have to be in it for the long game. Email mistake number 13: not tracking data correctly. If you have the wrong data and you make decisions based on the wrong data, you are never going to get the results that you want. Here's an example of how this tracking the data reached a point of absurdity with a client I've worked with in the past. My objective was to use emails to generate booked calls. In week 1, I looked at the data. I got them to copy the data from their autoresponder to a Google Sheet so I can highlight things and make my own decisions and use the sheets. Week 1, my emails generated 20 book calls. Week 2, the book calls from week 1 changed. Did not represent the same thing. They changed the metric on what they wanted to measure. Week 3, same thing happened. They changed it again. Week 4, they changed it again. Every week, they used some different metric inside their software to determine how many people booked a call from an email. I don't actually understand how this became a complicated thing, because someone clicks a link to book a call, they don't. But it was this client, it was the way they did things. So this reached a point of absurdity when 1 week I looked at the data, which had changed yet again, and it said that it went from 2 or 3 weeks, I forget, where I'd generated a significant amount of calls, maybe 50 book calls, and then the next time I looked at it, it said I only generated 5 calls or something. So you can see the tier of which is true. And then I looked at it in more detail, and this email, they said, generated 1.3 booked calls. The next email generated 0.5 books. The next email, 0.7 book calls. It took me 2 weeks to get this resolved, because how can you have 1.3 people book a call from an email? Either you book a call or you don't. This is what can happen. Don't track the data correctly. The solution is identify from day one what your metrics are, what you want to track, what you want to analyze, and focus on that. Email mistake number 14. You copy everyone else. You copy everyone else in a positive by you see people having a solid email marketing plan. They send daily emails. You want to copy them. You use what they put as inspiration, and you try to imitate what they do. I've done this myself by studying email marketers over the years, breaking down emails they send, reverse engineering it. Good skill, but what works for business A will not work for your business. Each email list is different. You only receive the email in your inbox. You don't know the history. You don't know the context or anything. So you can't assume that if it works for one business that you respect and admire, that it'll directly translate to yours, because you don't know the backstory, you don't know the nuances, you don't know all the details. The second part of this is copying everyone else in a negative way, and that is with the common objection is that you don't see anyone else sending daily emails, so you don't want to do it too. Nobody else in your industry does it, so you don't want to do it too. You use other people and your competitors and everyone else to make decisions in a negative way, which hold you back. What I would suggest doing the solution here is figure out a plan. If you want to incorporate emails, I'd suggest doing a day 5 to 7 and stick to it. And don't care what other people do. Care about your own business, care about your own list, care about serving the people on your list because they are individual humans, and forge your own way forward. Email mistake number 15. This again ties into so many of the mistakes above, and that is not having a long-term plan. I like to use the analogy of a dartboard. If you're familiar with darts, the highest score from an individual dart is 60, and that is by hitting the 3 darts. Well, what am you more? You want to get the highest score. Scenario 1, you stand, you aim. Scenario 2, you stand, you put a blindfold on, you spin around a few times, you walk in random directions, you throw darts randomly with the blindfold on. Which scenario is more likely to get you the highest score on the dartboard? Well, obviously it's scenario 1. And obviously that there is a possibility that scenario 2 will work, but it's much, much likely that if you have a clear target, a clear goal, and you aim and you might achieve it than just doing it randomly. This applies to everything in life. You need to know what you want to achieve so you can actually achieve it. You wouldn't get into a car and just start driving random 8 hours and then wonder why you're lost instead of arriving at a destination that you pre-plan to go to. So why do you do it in your business? If you have a goal for your emails and you have a goal for marketing, think about what you want to do in 12 months. Think about what financial targets you want to hit in your business in the next 12 months. Think about how many subscribers you want on your email list in 12 months. Think about how many followers you want on social media. Think about all of the different factors involved. Do you want more products? Do you want more services? Do you want to start a membership? What things do you want to achieve in 12 months? How do you want to achieve it? Reverse engineer a plan, set milestones, set mini goals, and then move forward to achieve it. If you have a long-term plan, especially with email marketing, and you have goals small goals that you can set and achieve, and you do it consistently, keyword consistently, you're going to tap into a compounding effect. It's going to take a long time, or what might feel like a long time to start off with, to build relationships and to start the process. But eventually you're going to reach a point where you have created fans of your brand and people are excited and looking forward to opening emails. And this is when the compounding effect kicks in. The compounding effect would be where you start to get far more results for far less effort in the future. And the results will be defined by, is it sales you want to focus on? Is it, your community that you want to build? Whatever it is. Compounding takes a long time before you start to see small results, and then suddenly you start to see big results. Having a goal allows you to stay on track, so you are in the game long enough for compounding to kick in. Email mistake number 16 is you don't cross promote your other channels as often as you should. Email is one medium of communication. Facebook is one medium of communication. Instagram, one medium of communication. LinkedIn, TikTok, any other platform that you use, YouTube, Rumble, Truth Social, whatever it is, one medium of communication. People who watch your YouTube videos, they might not be on in your Facebook group. People in your Facebook group might not follow you on Instagram. People that follow you on Instagram might not have subscribed to your YouTube channel. Cross promote them. Encourage people to join a WhatsApp group if you use a WhatsApp group in your Facebook group. Encourage people to follow your Instagram in your email. Incentivize people to do it. If you can get people to follow you on multiple platforms, you can share your message multiple times. People see it. People are you're gonna tap in. You're gonna become omnipresent, and you're gonna get bigger results. Email mistake number 17. You don't believe in the process, or you don't trust the process. This all directly ties back to having goals, being consistent, being frequent, and doing things long enough so you tap into the compounding effect. If you don't believe in the process, you'll never buy into if you don't believe in the process and you don't buy into the system, you're not going to be committed to do it, and you're going to find at the first you're going to find any excuse to stop. I have experienced this myself personally with an old email list. I've experienced this working with long-term retainer clients. It doesn't end well. You're fighting an uphill battle all the time, trying to work with someone that doesn't buy into the system. Even more difficult is when the CEO of the business buys into the system or says they buy into the system. They have unrealistic expectations because of shiny object syndrome, but the rest of the team don't buy into the system because they're focused on doing things that are in their best interest. And then you have to try and integrate things because you're relying on the team to give you the things. If you don't buy into email marketing, don't do it. Just focus on what you want to do. If you do buy into it and you do see the vision, set yourself a goal, set yourself a plan, and stick to it for a long enough period so the compounding starts to kick in. Email mistake number 18. You think your email list is too small. I'm going to give you an example of two hypothetical scenarios, and I want you to tell me which you would prefer. Scenario 1. You have an email list with 100,000 subscribers. Every time you send an email, you might generate, but no, make it simple. You have an email list with 100,000. Every month, you make 10 cents per subscriber. This means every month, you make $10,000 from 100,000 people. Scenario 2 is you have an email list with 100 people, 1,000 times less. But each month, you get one new $10,000 a month client who pays you on retainer for a few months, or 6 months, or 12 months. In month 1, you make 10,000. In month 2, you get another client and make another 10,000. In month 3, you get another client and make another 10,000. So in 3 months, the second scenario with 100 people, 100 clients, 100 hot prospects, people that buy into your brand and want to do business with you, you're making $30,000 a month from 3 clients that are paying you $10,000 a month, compared to your bigger list of 100,000, where you're making $10,000 per month. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer $10,000 in your pocket or $30,000 in your pocket after 3 months? Email list size is irrelevant. It all depends on what you're selling. It depends on the quality of the people on your list. It depends on how you've segmented it and a whole heap of things. Just because you can see someone that's got a big list for new, it doesn't mean that it's more profitable. Focus on quality. Email mistake number 19. Don't hard teach in your emails. If you're familiar with email marketing, you might have heard of Ben Settle. This is something I learned from Ben Settle and something he was an expert at, and probably still don't really read his emails anymore. And that is that you don't hard teach in emails, rather you soft teach. Different ways to view this. I do both sometimes to mix things up. But in this context here, you are selling a product. Let me backtrack. Whether you want to hard teach or soft teach depends on whether you're selling a product or a service. So if you're selling a product, your product is an information product, right? And you're teaching someone inside their product how to do something, how to get this specific result. You don't want to teach how to get the specific result in the email and then try and get people to buy it. You want to teach people the concepts behind it, but not tell them how to do it. They buy the product and they then get the information to get the result. Likewise, if you're having a service that you do for people, you can hard teach in emails and tell people exactly how to do it, but you also have to make sure that, well, it's difficult if you do it on your own. You're going to face these obstacles if you do it on your own. Procrastination is likely going to kick in if you do it on your own. And then several months are going to pass, nothing's going to happen, you're going to be in the same position or worse 3 months down the line. Why don't you get me to help you do it? It all depends on the context. In general, though, if you want to hard teach, don't necessarily teach hard teach related to your related to what you're selling, but you can hard teach certain frameworks that can help people overcome the objections and limiting beliefs and things to prepare them to want to buy your products and services. Again, ultimately, it's up to you, but don't Basically, if you want to sell an info product, don't people all the information in your email and then expect them to buy it, because I've already got the information in the email. Email mistake number 20 is this, an important one. You have an email list, you try to please everyone, you try to keep everyone happy, you respond to a vocal minority, and you make decisions based on them. Here's an example. And this is an example that I've encountered lots of times. So I've got a bit of experience. Start sending daily emails. Inevitably, people are going to start to reply to emails saying, you're sending too many. Why do they? Some people, they want their email inbox to be have nothing in. They want it to be clean. They want it to have zero emails in. I used to be like that. Not anymore. Some people are like that. If you start to increase the frequency of your emails, some people are going to complain. You'll get the typical kind of email, which I've seen a few times, where it says, hey, I don't want to, I was deciding whether or not to send this, but I want to give you some constructive feedback about the number of emails that you send. You're sending too many. I'm sure I'm sure, I feel like it's too many, and I'm sure other people on your list. Would you consider sending fewer emails? You'll get various emails or similar variations to that. You might get 10 people reply and say that. Worse, you might get 20 people say it. What you fail to realize is that on a list of 10,000, 20 people might have complained that you're sending too many emails, but 9,980 did not. Why would you want to cater to because they're vocal and they're complaining, when your data suggests that the vast majority of people are not complaining? And likewise, directly tied to this here is, you want to encourage people to unsubscribe if they don't like your content, or if they think you're too many emails. And the reason is because who unsubscribe are less likely to become customers, they're less likely to buy from you. You don't want them on the list. You want to attract people that support your brand, that support your values, that support your vision, that support what you want to do, and they like your content. And you want to repel those who don't. You don't want to cater to people that don't like your brand. You don't want to cater to people who have too many emails. You want to regularly clean your list by removing people that don't open emails. You want people to unsubscribe. Someone that receives emails from you that does not want to receive your emails are not going to buy from you, or there's a very low probability they're going to buy from you, and they're more likely to report you as spam. And if they report you as spam, and enough people report you as spam, it's going to cause deliverability problems for the rest of the people. Encourage people to subscribe. Tell them to subscribe if they don't want to receive the content. Make it clear how and where to unsubscribe. Okay, so there we have it. There are 20 mistakes. This has now gone on for almost 50 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. I do want to say, though, if you are about to start daily emails, or if you're currently doing email marketing, or if you want to start doing email marketing, then my team and I can help you do that. You'll find out how we can help you in the comments below, or my assistant will put the information. I'd be happy to share my ideas and give you some pointers on how you can achieve your goals in your business.